Women versus accountability. Messi versus Ronaldo. Ketchup versus mustard. Diddy versus What do these have in common? Absolutely nothing, other than the fact that they're all some of the most memorable and iconic rivalries of recent times. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new budding rivalry. It's now Arc Raiders versus Marathon. And you'll be surprised to know that Marathon actually lost one of its previous fights with another rival. It was with overweight people. It just couldn't come out on top, so it decided to swap niches. Okay, jokes aside, well, not totally aside, but let's just focus here. We're gonna start with Ark. So it's one of those games that nobody really had massive expectations for. People were curious about it, but there wasn't really any hostility around it, which is very different from what's happening with Marathon right now. Because when you start from zero, it's easier to build momentum without people already wanting you to fail. I mean, the way people talk about Marathon, you'd think that the Decepticons made Marathon. Now, the biggest thing with Ark is accessibility. The matchmaking doesn't force you into sweaty PvP if you don't want it. If you'd rather stick to PvE, you can, and you're not constantly running into hyper-aggressive players. That's what's refreshing to me. I'm tired of matchmaking systems that make every game feel like a tournament. I don't want to sweat every time I log on. Maybe when I was 11 and cracked out of my mind, that would have been fun. Now I just want to feel challenged, not absolutely abused. Marathon is different though. It's trying to lean into that esports, hero shooter, extraction shooter kind of gimmick. And that's fine. I mean, it fills a different niche. If someone plays PvP in Ark and feels like it's not mechanically demanding enough, Marathon is right there to give them that higher intensity experience. I don't mind that split at all. I actually like that there's more variety. Marathon feels like a mix of Call of Duty, Overwatch, and Tarkov all blended together, and that combo makes it a lot more interesting than just another standard basic extraction shooter. That said, I have to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Bungie's movement and overall feel. Like I played a little bit of Marathon. It's not really, it just feels stiff to me. The FOV, it caps at around 110, and that doesn't help either. I prefer 120. But that's just me. The gameplay loop itself is pretty solid though, because I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know what's going on. I still need to learn how to play the game. So once I figured out what the objective is and I'm not wandering around, I think it could be a lot more enjoyable for me. And also when I'm in the mood for something a little harder, Marathon does scratch that itch for me because I prefer first person over third person. Shooting just feels more immersive and engaging that way. So that's really the core difference. Marathon leans more into that competitive and streamer friendly niche, while Ark is more relaxed and for unks. Now, I know they're both advertised as extraction shooters, but they play very differently. I would say Ark is more about survival and Marathon is like sport. So in Ark, you're taking your time, you're looking for items, you're crafting. There are intense moments here and there, especially when the pops and fireballs decide to bum rush you at the same time. But overall, the pace is slower because of the goddamn stamina system. Marathon also has a stamina system, but I feel like it's a lot more forgiving, where in Ark, it feels like your character, I don't even know. It's ridiculous. It's like they have the lung capacity of a goldfish. But overall, it feels like there are more things to do across the map in Ark and more points of interest pulling you around. Granted, I haven't played Marathon enough to fully understand its regular loop, but from what I've seen and played, it definitely has a different feel. You have your character, which is called a runner here, and you're completing contracts for whatever faction you choose, and you rank up through those contracts. It's a completely different system. With Ark, you're building up your character, you're giving them perks, and basically shaping how you want to play the game. You decide how durable you want to be, how survivable you want to be, and you mold your playstyle around that. Now let me slide in here really quickly before we continue. If you guys played the server slam, let me know what you think about it. I'm really curious whether it lived up to the hate expectations. There we go, that's a new word, hate expectations. I'm gonna copyright that. Or did it actually play the way you were hoping? So yeah, let me know down below. And if you're enjoying the video, hit like and subscribe, why not? Now, Marathon also isn't very beginner friendly. You do have free loadouts called Rook, but they're not that useful. The best way I can explain it is they feel like Call of Duty tutorial loadouts. You don't get much ammo and you run out really fast. It's definitely not enough to compensate for the amount of damage you have to deal to the bots, let alone real people. The PvE enemies all have shields, and some of them are absolute bullet sponges, and I'm sitting there thinking, there's no way this free loadout is supposed to hold me over. I also don't like how slow the looting feels. Not just the items popping up, but the actual screen that shows you what's there. It takes time for everything to load in, and that can really affect you because Like, by the time you look at what's in someone's kit, you could be shot. In Ark, it does take some time as well, but here it feels a lot slower. You can totally die. And I think that, I mean, I'm not sure what's going to happen later on if there's a perk that can help you speed that up, but I really hope so, because otherwise I don't even know that I want to loot. And that really shows like the difference in philosophy or approach to the extraction part of the game, because in Ark you can farm your loadouts. You take everything that you got and stash it. It might be gaming the system a little bit, but it works. It feels like you're giving yourself insurance for your future runs. Not to mention, if you train up Scrappy and give him, or like have him gather resources for you, you can go into runs with a free loadout and basically double how much farming you're doing. It's incredible. I love that system. Now for this last part, you're going to want to sit down, and if you're already sitting down, stand up and then sit down again, because it's going to be a big factor in whether or not you even want to play Marathon. So I'm not sure how frequently they're going to do this, but basically everything, all the gear, all the loot that you've stashed away is going to get removed in a seasonal wipe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but that's how I've come to understand it. Now, at first glance, this sucks so much balls, because in extraction shooters, pretty much everyone has gear fear, unless you're in Ark and you have the blueprint for the gun that you want to make, so it doesn't even matter at that point. But in Marathon, it doesn't even matter if you have the equivalent of a blueprint, because your loot is absolutely cooked after the seasonal wipe. Now, it does seem bad. However, when you think about it, it happens to everybody. So nobody's going to have an upper hand long term. The further you go into a season, sure, some people are going to have better guns, but after every reset, you start at the bottom and you get another chance to find better loot and get better guns. So you're not going to really feel permanently outmatched because somebody has, for example, again, in Ark, a heavy shield and an Aphelion against you while you have an Anvil upgraded or Anvil level 2. Of course, the person who has the better shield is most likely going to win that fight, but in Marathon, that problem isn't going to be as apparent long term. So in that sense, it is more friendly for beginners. It just depends on when you start playing the game, whether it's at the start of a wipe or in the middle of the season. So yeah, both Marathon and Ark have pretty distinct identities, and it really just comes down to what appeals to you more. I hope that PvP players in Ark actually move over to Marathon so they can fight each other and scratch that weird homicidal itch that they have. But Ark did teach me something. It showed me how people might actually react in a post-apocalyptic scenario. Like, if we ever end up in a situation where we were fighting for scraps like this, yeah, we would have so many rats, it would be ridiculous. Now, I'll leave the video there before I get too philosophical. If you liked the video, consider hitting the button that I'm told is the like button. And also consider subscribing for more videos in the future after I've had more time with the game. Once I get my hands on it properly, I can give you stronger opinions and better insights on it. And if you're interested in sponsoring a future video or working with me, hit my line at the email in the description. But at any rate, thank you all so much for watching as always. And until next time, make sure to take care.